Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Fit Fuel Female. I am so grateful that you're here with me today. So, I'm just going to be honest with you. I despise the word waiting. I am just not someone who waits. I act with urgency, I push through, and I always find a way. My team at work even knows it's basically a banned word. If I ask for an update and someone starts with, well, I'm just waiting for I will stop them mid sentence. No, we don't wait, we move. But here I am, sitting in a season when there's literally nothing left to do but wait. And it has wrecked me in the best way. This year has been honestly a wild mix of WTF and oh, I get it now. It's like I've been forced to slow down long enough to actually see what God's been doing behind the scenes. And dare I say, I think I finally understand why I'm in my waiting era. Well, I mean, maybe not fully. I'm not claiming full enlightenment here, but I can see that God isn't withholding. He's preparing me. He's building something in me that I don't think the old me could have carried. This past week, I had the privilege of attending the sisterhood conference at our church, Genesis Metro. And even though I wasn't able to be there for the whole thing, that first evening, it was everything I didn't know I needed. Pastor Carey said something that really hit me. Purpose requires preparation. And she wasn't wrong. It was one of those moments where you feel the message landing on you in real time. You're like, okay, I get it. I hear you. I was sitting in a room full of women who are either in their own waiting season or have come out on the other side. It was so powerful. There was this sense of, I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. I'm not behind. There was just so much comfort in that, so much peace in realizing that what can feel like a delay is actually preparation. Because let's be real, preparation, it doesn't feel pretty. It feels like delay. It feels like silence. It can feel like nothing is happening. But underneath the stillness, something is being built: character, discipline, patience, faith. And meanwhile, I'm usually over here just tapping my fingers, waiting for clarity, trying to get to the end, completely missing the point that there's not only obedience in the waiting, but there's magic in it too. Because you can't really grow if you don't go through it. And what would be the fun in just skipping to the end anyway? You'd miss the feeling of accomplishment, of gratitude, of grace. The reminder that the becoming, it matters just as much as the arriving. I mean, isn't that the whole point? To learn along the way who's really with you, what no longer belongs, what God's stripping away so he can make room for what's next. And the messy parts, oh, they're absolutely brutal in the moment. But name one time they didn't teach you something. I'll wait. Because there's always a lesson. Whether it's work, family, fitness, or health, the hard times are always the training ground. You don't walk into the gym for the first time and run a marathon or bench your body weight. You train. You endure the pressure, the pain, the pushing through, the showing up. So why don't we apply that same principle to life? The waiting, it's not wasted, it's the workout. It's where your endurance and your faith and your character get built. And I'll be honest, God keeps using the everyday people lately in my life to remind me of that. The other morning, I was sitting at the gym and my friend plopped down next to me and said, I've been thinking about you and everything you've been walking through lately. I've been in your shoes, and I promise you are going to look back at this time and be so incredibly grateful for it. I just looked at her. She said, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel happier, and you may even ask yourself, why did I even wait so long? But you'll be glad you did, because it will all be worth it. And honestly, I looked at her and I just said, girl, yes, please, and thank you. So if you're in your waiting era too, this episode is for you, because it turns out this part isn't wasted, it's working. And the version of you that walks out of it, she's really going to thank you for not skipping this part. Which leads me to my first lesson. Embrace the wait. Oh man, those words, they make my eye twitch, literally. Because here's the truth. I've built a life on not waiting. If something could be done faster, I'd find a way. If there was a shortcut, I might just take it. I mean, I'm that person who sees overnight delivery and thinks, ugh, do they not have the 2-hour option? I mean, we live in a world that has completely trained us to avoid waiting. Amazon Prime, Uber, DoorDash, we will literally pay extra just to shave off 5 to 10 minutes of inconvenience. And yeah, I'm calling myself out here. I have absolutely paid the priority delivery fee because my food would get here 5 to 10 minutes faster. I mean, as if my stomach couldn't possibly wait. But let's be real. Mostly because those 5 to 10 minutes with my kids can sometimes feel like an eternity when they're hungry. But it's such a perfect snapshot of the world we're living in. We treat waiting like a problem to fix instead of a process to grow through. We'll pay more, we'll stress more, and sometimes we'll even sprint harder so we don't have to sit in the pause. I mean, in my career, I used to outwork the timeline. I double down, hustle harder, and I try to control my way into faster outcomes. And honestly, it worked until it didn't. Because what no one tells you is that constant speed, it comes with a cost. You end up with a life that might be full of stuff, success, noise, but somehow still feels empty. You get everything you wanted, but you also get burnt out, disconnected, and broke. I mean, maybe not just financially, but spiritually and emotionally too. And I had to learn the hard way that control is a myth, that waiting isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's God's way of protecting you from things you're just not ready for yet, or things that might look good, but they're not built to last. The minute you stop fighting the pause and actually lean into it, everything shifts. Waiting doesn't mean nothing's happening, it just means that something's happening to you. It's the refining before the revealing. And I got the funniest reminder of that this morning from my 4-year-old daughter. She's been wearing her Frozen dress for like 2 days straight. She slept in it, she's eaten in it, she's basically living her best Elsa life. But this morning she melted down because she couldn't wear it to school. She looked at me with those big, beautiful eyes and said, "Mommy, how many sleeps until the next school Halloween?" I said, "Sweetheart, it's about 300 sleeps away." Cue the 10-minute tantrum. As I'm trying to get her little sneakers on, I just laughed because if that's not waiting, I honestly don't know what is. She just wanted Halloween to come faster, but I told her, "You will get to wear that dress again, and when you do, you're going to be the most beautiful princess ever because you waited." And it hit me. That's exactly how I think God parents us. We think we're ready right now for the job, the relationship, the breakthrough, and He's just over there gently saying, "Sweetheart, it's not Halloween yet. You still have a lot of sleeps." The waiting, though, is where He's preparing you. It's where your patience, faith, and purpose are refined. So instead of rushing through the season, what if you embraced it like the part of the story that actually matters? Because the waiting, it's not punishment, it's protection, it's preparation, and it's proof that you're being built for something bigger. Which leads me to lesson number 2. Know when to grit and when to wait. For most of my life, grit was my go-to. I was the push harder, work longer, prove it twice girl. And honestly, that mindset has taken me far. But I've learned that there's a fine line between grit and grasping, between working hard and trying to force something that just isn't ready yet. I've done it in my career, in my relationships, and if I'm being honest, with my money too. There's a season where I equated I can with I should. I finally had independence and options and the drive to make things happen, so I did. And sure, I usually got what I wanted, but it rarely felt the way I thought it would. Because when you try to do it all yourself, yes, you might still get there, but you'll arrive exhausted, unprepared, and completely burnt out. You end up carrying something you were actually never trained to lift yet. That's the part that no one talks about with self-made success. You can absolutely make it happen on your own, but it will cost you, and it will cost you more peace than it's worth. I've made career moves like that before. I saw an opportunity, I went after it hard, and I got it. And then I realized that, oh my God, the learning curve is brutal. Not because I wasn't talented, but because I wasn't ready. My skill set, it hadn't caught up to my ambition yet. You know, there's so much truth to the saying, take a job you're not 100% ready for. I say it all the time. But there's also a difference between stretching into something and forcing yourself into something before your foundation is strong enough to support it. And that is where burnout hides, in the gap between what you want and what you're actually ready for. The same thing happens with money and life. You reach a point where you finally can, and so you start saying yes. You buy the thing, you take the trip, you upgrade the moment because you can, and it feels good until the life creep sets in. I've been there. And I'm so grateful that none of those choices ever put us in a true crisis, but there have been plenty of wake-up calls and unnecessary stress along the way. Earlier this year was a perfect example. The first half of our year was completely backloaded, and if you're in sales, you know exactly what that means. Some months are strong, some are slow, and predicting cash flow feels like playing whack-a-mole. It forced my husband and me to slow down and get really intentional, to stop making decisions from emotion and start making them from wisdom. Because I realized I'd been living in this I'll make up for it later mentality. And later, it has a way of showing up sooner than you think. That same mindset shows up in other parts of life too. In my divorce, when I tried to rush healing before I was ready. In this podcast, when I thought if I just grind harder, it will grow faster. Every time I try to accelerate the outcome, it tends to backfire. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I was confusing control with confidence. And here's the truth. If you grind and push hard enough, you probably will get it. But when you get it before you're ready, it rarely works out the way it's supposed to because you don't yet know what to do with it, how to hold it, sustain it, or even leverage it for its real purpose. And that's the difference between hustling your way to something and growing your way into it. When you let things come to you through the waiting, through the process, you might get there slower, but you're so much more ready when you do. You understand the value of it, you're able to sustain it, and you can use it with purpose and not panic. What this year has taught me is that when you finally relinquish control and stay faithful through the waiting, God will meet you there. The first half of our year was confusing and stressful, and honestly, pieces of the second half have been too. But I've also realized there have been so many blessings. So many good things have started to unfold recently. Some I could see coming, and others I least expected. I keep talking about how hard this year has been, and it has. But through the waiting and the intentionality and the letting go, I've started to feel gratitude instead of frustration. Grateful for what the hard taught me. Gratitude for how the waiting has matured me. Because this season, it wasn't about punishment or pain, it was about preparation. I know I was meant to go through it so I could come out stronger, wiser, and even more grateful on the other side. These days, I'm learning to grow inside the season I'm in, even when I know it's not forever. To breathe through it and not bulldoze past it. Because yes, I might still reach my goals if I push harder, but if I let go and trust the timing, I'll likely reach them better. And that's what grit with grace looks like. Which leads me to my power move for the week. This week's power move is something I've been practicing myself lately. I call it the if-then thinking. It's simple. Instead of acting on every want in the moment, I attach it to a milestone. If I hit this goal, then I'll revisit that thing I want, or the thing I think I want. And what's been so interesting and honestly kind of freeing is that by the time I actually reach the milestone, I usually don't even want that thing anymore. Because time is a funny way of showing you what's real. Waiting gives you perspective and it reveals what's truly aligned and what was just a dopamine hit in disguise. For me, this has changed how I approach almost everything: career goals, purchases, plans, even relationships. It's helped me stop rushing into things out of impulse and start making choices from intention. So, your power move this week is this. Before you chase it, click it, or commit to it, pause. Ask yourself, is this an impulse or is this aligned? If it's still on your heart after the work, after the waiting, and after the growth, girl, you go for it. But if it fades, I want you to celebrate that too, because that's proof you're evolving. The real reward isn't getting what you want the second you want it. It's becoming the version of you who knows what's worth waiting for. So what's been fueling me lately? Gratitude. Not the kind that comes after everything is figured out, but the kind that shows up while you're still in it. Last night was one of those moments. We were winding down for the evening, and our family tradition this time of year is rewatching all of the Harry Potter movies. We usually start around Halloween and try to finish them by Christmas. The movie was on, the lights were low, and I just looked around me. Both kids had nuzzled their way into my arms under the blanket. Both dogs were curled up, one by my side, the other at my feet. My husband was next to me, the fire was glowing, and for a second, everything just felt still. I looked around at it all, the warmth, the chaos, the comfort, and the love, and I just whispered, thank you. Because this is what it's all about. Everyone wanted to be together last night, not forced, not planned, just together, watching a movie, living a tradition, and just simply being a family. Now, don't get me wrong, I am still in a season of waiting. I know I haven't reached my full breakthrough yet, but I know I'm past the hardest part because I can feel it. That shift when you've been climbing for so long and suddenly you realize you're starting to make your way down the mountain. I don't have all of the clarity yet. I don't know exactly what's next or what it will look like, but I can feel peace in the process now. And that's what's been fueling me. Gratitude for the waiting, gratitude for the perspective it's giving me, and gratitude for the simple sacred moments that remind me what actually really matters. Because the waiting, it doesn't last forever, but the appreciation it builds, that stays with you. So before we wrap today, I just want to take a moment and say thank you. Every message, every tag, every share, every comment, you have no idea how much it means to me. These last few weeks, especially, I've had moments where your words have really been the exact confirmation I needed to keep going. Because when I started Fit Fuel Female, my goal wasn't to just talk about fitness or ambition. It was, and it still is, to make an impact. To remind women like you that faith, grit, and grace, they can coexist. And hearing from you, knowing that these episodes are landing, that they're helping, and that they're resonating, it's honestly been the clearest sign that I'm doing what I'm meant to do. So thank you for being here, for listening, for sharing the space with me. This community is growing because of you. Every time you hit like, share an episode with a friend, post a quote, or leave a review, it helps me reach more women who might need that same reminder. That they're not behind, they're just in their waiting era, being built for what's next. So please, if today's message speaks to you, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, send it to someone who's in their own season of waiting, because it's because of you that I'm still here, still recording, still growing, still doing the work that I love. And as always, thank you for showing up. Thank you for trusting me with your time, and thank you for reminding me that even in the waiting, we are becoming. So until next time, my friends, stay fit, stay fueled, and stay faithful.